Folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little guy right here, Tomb Trader by Level 99 Games. It is a quick, fast little choose what location you're going to go to, set collection. You're going to have to work deals with other players to get loot if you go to the same location, that kind of stuff. Has a pretty strong ink and gold vibe to it, although the mechanisms are different, and it has variable player powers. So let's get down to the table. I'll show you how it works. And so here I have set up for you a 4-player game of Tomb Trader. The first thing that you do to set up for the game is you take all of these treasure cards, shuffle them up, and then you deal a number of cards that are specific to the rounds for the different number of cards that are going to come out on each round for the inner tomb and the outer tomb. Of note, this is for 3 to 4 players. If you flip it over, there's also a 5 to 6 players. They change the number of treasures that come out for each round. So basically what's going to happen here is that each person is going to take on the role of a different member of an archaeological team, and they are trying to get as much treasure from this tomb as possible so that they can fund their dig or whatever you might be saying here. Each person is going to get 2 location cards. Now these location cards on the other side say outside the tomb and inside the tomb. So you're going to be using these to decide which part of the tomb you're going to be going to during the course of each round. You also start with 3 coins, which can be used for making deals and so forth and so on. So what happens during the course of the game is each round everybody's going to choose which part of the tomb they go to. And when you choose that, maybe you'll have more than one person going to a certain area, maybe you'll have one person going to an area alone, whatever it might be. If more than one person goes to a location, then they have to make a deal to split up the loot that is in that location before a minute expires. If someone goes to a location alone, they simply get to take half of the treasure that's there, rounded down in a 4 to 6 player game, but in a 3-player game it would actually be rounded up. But that's the general course of the game. You're simply choosing which location you're going to go to each round. If you go to another person, the same location as another person, you have to make a deal within a minute to divvy up the loot that's there. And then on the next round, new treasure cards are put out in each location, and you go through that 7 rounds. At the end of 7 rounds, everybody takes a look at how much each of their treasures are worth, and then whoever has the most treasure points is the winner. Now, I know that sounds very simplistic and really sounds like it's actually been done before, but one of the cool things about it is each player is going to be taking on their own role within the team of archaeologists. Now, the thing here is that it remains hidden. Nobody knows who you are throughout the course of the game. They might be able to deduce, based upon what locations you're going to, who you are, because each of these different guys are going to be giving bonus points for these different kinds of treasures that they specifically are looking for. So, for example, down here, each jar that the alchemist gets is going to do +2 for each jar. But he's also looking for these other treasures as well that will give him bonus points in addition to the points that are already given to whomever takes it. The collector, of course, he wants everything. So he's going to want to collect everything, and everything gives him +1. The professor is only looking for very specific things here. So if he was able to take the preserved eye, if you'll notice here, it shows the professor's icon. He'll get 2 points plus 2 more at the end of the game. The taxonomist here is looking for all of these different treasures, and they're going to give +2 points, +4 if it is the silver skull here. And then here you see the taxonomist's icon as well. So the silver skull for the taxonomist is worth 7 coins at the end of the game, not just 3. And so you keep going on through. The hunter is going to be doing this. He also has +1 treasure map piece if you have at least one piece. So every time that he gets a treasure map, it's as if he has an extra one. So if he has 2, then he actually has 3. If he has 5, then he actually has 6, and so forth and so on. And you can see that treasure maps are kind of the set collection aspect here, where it is worth a certain number of points depending on how many of them that you have. So there is that. So you have all of these different things that you can be. Everybody is dealt one face down at the beginning of the game so that nobody knows who they are. These are chucked back into the box. So basically what I'll do here is I'll just run you through one singular round, because every single round will play out the same. The only difference is that sometimes the treasure cards will have different things that they will do. Now, for this one singular round, I'm just going to play with all of the character cards face up. You would normally not do that. That is hidden information during the course of the game, but just so that we can kind of talk through what might or might not be going after, we're going to leave those open. So during the course of a round, the first thing that everybody does is they choose which location they're going to go to, either inside the tomb or outside the tomb. And so once everybody has chosen where they're going to go, everybody flips over and shows where they're going. So the hunter is going inside the tomb along with the artist, and then the gambler and the alchemist are going to go into the outer tomb. So now that we have 2 people in each location, a minute has to transpire. During that minute, you have to basically decide how the loot is going to be divvied up. Well, the gambler going outside the tomb is going to definitely try to wrangle at least the bone dice, and we definitely don't want the cursed jar because it's -1. So you know, here it goes. So maybe the gambler will say something to the effect of, I want the bone dice and I'll give you a coin so that you take the cursed jar and the silver skull. So maybe that'll be a good thing for them to do, maybe not. Let's just say that they agree on that. So she gives $1 to the alchemist, who takes the silver skull and the cursed jar, and then she would take the bone dice. So at this point, she would have to flip a coin, and the card says if heads, this is +2, but the rule book actually says to flip a coin, if you call it right, it's worth 2. So we're going to go ahead with the rules, and we have a handy dandy quarter here. I'm going to flip and just say heads, just so that we can stay hopefully there. So it's heads, and so this is actually worth 4 for her instead of just 2. But on top of that, it's also worth a number of +3 points. So this is actually worth 7 points to her. That's why she went out to the outside tomb. Now, meanwhile, the hunter and the artist have probably been divvying up this. And so, well, she is, the hunter, the artist that is being rather giving. She says, you can go ahead and take the treasure map. I would like to take the preserved eye. Seeing as how he is going to be getting extra points or extra abilities with treasure maps, he'll agree to that. He takes it and turns it over and turns it over. At that point, everybody's card comes back to them like so, and new cards are divvied out. So we have second round, 3 cards go up top in the outer tomb, and let's see, round 2, 2 cards come down here in the bottom tomb, or rather the inner tomb, and now we're ready to start the next round. And that's how game is played over the course of 7 rounds for 3 to 4 players, and 6 rounds for 5 to 6 players. Whoever has the most coins or points at the end of those rounds is the winner. And so that is Tomb Trader. It's a really quick, little easy game to play. Setup is quite frankly minimal, almost non-existent, because all you really have to do is divide up the different things that are there, and then you know, deal out the cards for the different locations, and you're ready to go. So it's a filler game, definitely. But one of the things that really that I latched onto was its connection with Ink and Gold. Ink and Gold is one of my favorite games to play. Very fun game that I can play with my youth group, I can play with my family, and it also works well with gamer types as well. So that was my first connection to Tomb Raider. But then on top of that, it has that variable player powers feel to it as well, because each of the different characters are going for different treasures within each location. So that will help you decide, at least at the very beginning, what location you're going to be going to from time to time, because you're specifically looking for certain treasures that everybody else may not be looking for at the same time. So I think that's a really neat thing to do. I also like the fact that the characters' identities, the players' identities, are kept secret throughout the course of the game. And you can kind of deduce who someone might be based upon where they've gone and what treasures they've chosen or what treasures they fought for in deals and so forth and so on. So I like that little unknown aspect of the game that really kind of fleshes itself out over the course of the game, whereas at the end, so that at the end of the game, you pretty much have a pretty good idea who everybody is, but you still don't know for sure. Really enjoy that. I like the ease of the turns. It's just basically one choice. Where am I going? Inside or outside the tomb? That makes for very fast gameplay. Some games lend themselves to analysis paralysis. I don't think this is one of them, because the choices are so limited, especially in the beginning of the game. Now, towards the end of the game, you have more treasures out on the table, so you kind of have to think a little bit more about where you're going to go. But more often than not, at least I've found that the decision of where you go is kind of an easy one. What happens and where the game really starts to take ground is the negotiation that happens in that minute thing. That minute time frame where you have to divvy up the treasures that are in each location. And boy, if you go to a location by yourself, if it just works out that way, score, bonus, you get half. I mean, even if it's rounded down, especially in the later turns, that's a lot of treasures that you'd be able to come away with. Probably won't happen as much as you might think it or hope it would, but it definitely is cool when it does happen. So all in all, I really do think that this is a really fun game to take along for a game night as a filler game. Now, I do have a couple of problems with the game, and that is, I know that they're not going to put money in the box. They're not going to put coin in the box for you, but that's just one of those things that most people will have a coin, probably more than that, in the people involved in the game. So that's not a big deal. The timer, however, is a big deal for me because it is something that is integral to the entire game. It's going to happen. You're going to have to need it. Why didn't they put a little sand timer in there? That's just a huge faux pas on my part. It is a minor nitpick as far as how I enjoy the game. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater just because it doesn't come with a sand timer. We all have apps on our phones now that can easily replace that. No worries. And that's probably their thought process in choosing not to spend money in production to put a sand timer in the game. But still, that's a nitpick of mine. If a component is necessary for gameplay, then include it in the game, especially a sand timer. It'll fit in this box, even though the box is small. So that's my one minor nitpick about the game. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the game, had a lot of fun with it. My family really enjoyed it and has asked to play it multiple times since we played it the first time. So there is a lot going on. If you like Ink and Gold, and you wanted a little bit of a different mechanism for divvying up loot rather than just, am I staying or am I going back to the camp? This might be one that you would want to look at because it definitely carries that vibe. It did for me too, but it also has variable player powers and it has a pretty cool negotiation aspect as well. So that is Tomb Raider from Level 99 Games. We'll see you guys on the flip side.